Hi guys, this is Dormouse03.
And this is Kat, perpetually not getting my timing right.
This is another episode of Those Gamer Girls, and we wanted to talk about the things that we saw from all of the E3 coverage that happened within the past couple of weeks. So, I think we mostly wanted to talk about games
Yeah. Well,
because
the games are the
that's
most
what
exciting part.
we're most interested in, right? I mean, the whole console war thing, we might touch on briefly,
Right.
and everything, but for the most part, what I really am excited about isn't the hardware or whatever. It's more about what new and interesting games are going to be coming out here soon.
And
So,
we've got quite a few of them, so.
so there are quite a lot of them, and a lot of them are just sort of things that they showed brief trailers of or a little bit of gameplay, and there's not a whole lot of that we know about them yet. And so it's just sort of things that we might mention as being kind of on our radar, but
Something to look out
but
for.
there were, yeah, exactly. And then there were a few that we probably want to go in more detail about. So,
Yeah.
without further ado, why don't you kick it off for us, Kat, with one of the ones that that you found most appealing.
Well, definitely, top of my list is Metal Gear Solid 5. That was one that I'd been hearing about for quite a while, but this was the first time I'd really seen anything from it. I hadn't been looking into it too much.
Right.
And it's just super exciting to me to see a new installment of this franchise, and not just a new one, but on the new console, so it's going to be updated graphics, updated gameplay, and it looks really good.
Yeah, it really did. And to me, this one kind of caught me a little bit off guard because I haven't played any of the Metal Gear games.
She's missing out, guys.
I know. I'm a
She's
sad
like, no, I'm
individual.
not.
They have always looked interesting to me, but I just have never gotten into the series. And
Yeah.
I don't know. The story doesn't look super appealing to me. The stealth does look
It
appealing
is a
to me.
hard story to come in sort of
Yeah, in the middle.
midway, yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I think that what appealed to me about what I saw from Metal Gear Solid 5, and let's be clear, we're talking about Phantom Pain,
Right.
because there are apparently two Metal Gear Solid 5s that are coming out.
The other one,
Phantom Pain,
which I
and
don't know anything about.
Ground Zeroes, which apparently is following Big Boss.
Yeah.
Whoever that is.
Big Boss
and-
is the original Snake.
And so, I guess it's
I
in sort of
think.
two
Someone's gonna
two
prove me wrong on
installments,
that.
and I think Ground Zeroes is supposed to be more, I guess, traditional Metal Gear playing, from what I understand, and I could be wrong on that, but it's more of like a strict storyline that you're following, and Phantom Pain is obviously a different Snake, and and it's more of an open world game than Ground Zeroes. So
Right.
the one that we don't really know very much about Ground Zeroes,
No, I
and
haven't looked
so
into that one at all.
the one that we're talking about really is Phantom Pain. So I think it caught me because it looks fantastic. You're riding the horse, you're riding in vehicles.
Yeah.
I think the thing that really that made me go, ooh, yeah, I like that, was when he sort of dodge rolled away
Right,
from
the slide, yeah, that looked really
the dodge
cool.
slide thing, away from an enemy or a light or something. I was like, ooh, I like that.
Well, back when
So-
Solid 4 came out, they were saying that it was the last one in the series, and I was really sad about that because I felt like while Solid 4 maybe wasn't as good story-wise, or I didn't find it was as good, it really updated the gameplay. Like, it was finally starting to bring the gameplay to a point where it played really well, and then to just end there seemed like a real shame to me. So it's super exciting to see this new one coming out. And it looks like they've done some really awesome stuff with the gameplay, like that slide and, hanging off the side of the horse and just having a horse. That's cool. I always like that.
Cat likes horses.
Yes, I do. So
She's
yeah,
very judgmental about horse models.
Yes, I am. Lumpy-assed horses in Assassin's Creed 3. Anyway. But yeah, so it looks like gameplay-wise, it's gonna keep moving forward, which is great, because
Yeah.
I've always liked the Metal Gear series for its gameplay, and I think it's just gonna keep going in a great direction, so that's cool.
Yeah, and
stoked
this might
for
be
it.
the one that actually gets me into the series and makes
I
me
hope
want to
so.
go back and play some of those older ones. So
No, it won't.
No, it
maybe
won't.
maybe 3 and 4 you don't want to go back to 1 and 2. Because if you get
Okay.
really good gameplay and then go back to the gameplay in 1
to the
and 2,
gameplay that's
fuck that.
crappier. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But well, maybe at least like watch a Let's Play or something to get the
Yes.
story.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So that was one that you were really excited about, and I'm excited about too, but I think you're much more invested in that series.
Yeah, I mean, it came on the screen and my eyes just got real big and I was like, ooh, I like.
Metal Gear.
So, it's cool.
So, very, very cool.
Yeah.
One that we both really were excited about is this new IP called Titanfall. And it's the
Titanfall.
game from the developers that originally did Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, Call of Duty 4. The name, dear God. Anyway, they used
One
to
of
be with
those.
Infinity Ward, and now they have their own company, and I'm blanking on the name of it.
I'd
Starts
help you
with an
out,
R.
but I know none of this stuff, so.
But you don't know.
Yay, cat!
So,
Round of applause for me.
I'm gonna find out right now. I'm sorry, I'm anal. But talk about it while I'm looking,
Talk
because
about it.
it looked
Right,
really freaking
okay.
awesome.
It just, you get used to shooters that are all kind of the same thing, and you're like, yeah, okay, it's a game of guns, whatever. And Titanfall just looks like a really different kind of shooter. I think it'll be really good, really
Yeah.
refreshing. And of course, one of the first things that they show you in there is the mechs, and I see a mech that I can get into, and my geek goes into overdrive. I'm like, yeah, mechs, that's gonna be great. So,
Sweet.
that
And the
that
name of
was
the
definitely a
company,
selling point.
Sweet. It's Respawn Entertainment. Yay.
There you go.
For me, for finding that out. So, they used to be with Infinity Ward. Now they're Respawn. This is their first game that they've made, and it looks freaking incredible, right? Just
Yeah.
the
Yeah, looks
pilots and the mechs, and the sort of mech versus mech, and the pilot versus pilot, and the pilot versus mech aspects to it, where the pilots are these sort of really nimble, and you're sort of jetpacking and parkouring and running along walls and things.
Love a good
Just
parkour.
very, very mobile, it had a lot more, I think, verticality to it
yeah.
than most shooters that you see, where it's just really encouraging you to just run around the environment and get into all these like crazy positions, where you're up here and you're not always just sort of down on the ground, and then being able to call in that Titan and get inside of it and feel really powerful, but at the same time not as super constrained and sluggish as you often are in a mech like that in other
Right,
games.
the mobility
I think
looks
was
good.
super appealing. Absolutely. Just to be able to sort of move around in that mech, get in and out of it seamlessly, and quickly. It doesn't take you
Yeah.
20 seconds to get in and out of the mech, where, everybody's just going to murder you while you're getting in or out of it. I don't know. It just looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything, or most everything, that they showed that was next gen, the graphics look amazing.
Looked amazing, yeah.
But I think more so than graphics, I think is an interesting aesthetic.
Yeah.
Is more important to me, and I think that it has a really interesting looking aesthetic. I think it looks very different from what they did on Call of Duty. It looks different from any other shooter really that's out there, and so I'm really, really excited for that game.
Yeah.
For sure. And I believe it is actually coming to 360 as well
Is
as
it?
Xbox One. I'm pretty sure it is. Which is interesting. I mean, a lot of these games that are coming out for both, I probably will get on next gen.
Yeah, I would say just wait. We got so much stuff to do.
Right. But it's nice that they're continuing to support the consoles that they have right now.
Yeah.
Because everybody's not going to be getting a next gen console right away, so it's nice to see that a lot of these games, at least initially, are going to support your older consoles, which is very
Right.
cool. And I could be wrong about that one, but I think I heard
But some
that.
of them,
so-
at least some of them, are going to be
At
on
least
the
some of them
360.
are.
So
Right. Like I think Metal Gear 5 actually is also 360.
yeah,
And
though I think I'll
PS3.
wait. I think I'll wait.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not coming out to 2014, as is Titanfall, so.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Titanfall, definitely a highlight for me.
Absolutely.
Which is interesting, right? Because I'm definitely not the biggest multiplayer fan.
No,
But
you're not. But
This looks like a multiplayer that I would be interested in. So.
right. Well, and we could be wrong about it, but didn't we think that some of it looked like it was
Yeah,
more
it
of a
looks-
cooperative type?
It looks like
multiplayer and
they
less
at least
of, like,
would have some modes that would be co-op,
Yeah.
multiplayer versus strictly player versus player.
So
So,
that has the potential to be good too.
yeah, absolutely. All right. What is the next one that comes to mind for you?
The next one, probably Destiny. Shall we talk about that one?
Yes. We shall talk about Destiny. So, Destiny is the new project from Bungie,
Yep.
creators of Halo, who are no longer doing Halo. Halo Reach was the last one that Bungie did
Right.
before 343 took over. And now they've been working on this project on their own, and they've recently revealed it. It's going to be Destiny, and the first real sort of gameplay stuff that we've seen from it was the stuff at E3. So, what did you think of it?
Well, I think it looks like it has a lot of potential. I liked
Yep.
the fact that, it's not just a clone of Halo or something. They didn't
Yeah.
go and make it, like, aesthetically it looks really different, the character design, and it's just a totally different
Right.
kind of game.
Type of game. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big MMO person, but I do kind of like the idea of having this big world and customizable characters and that sort of thing, and that we can play it together, because we're always looking for good things to play together.
Yeah.
And
I
the
mean,
character
I like
design looked really
a
cool.
lot of things
and,
about it.
And some of the weapons looked pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think the classes look really interesting. The story that they've woven around it looks very interesting. The aesthetics of it look really cool. And it looks like one that, even though they have a lot of these that have come out, this year that are more of that like MMO type of game, but that really appeal more to me than any MMO has in the past.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
you think of MMO and you think of this just thing that's a constant grind that never ends.
Yeah, I just think
Um,
of WoW.
well, right, and
Just that kind of life suck that, you know, you just
right,
play it endlessly, and for what purpose, really? To get to level
yeah,
8 million? Like,
bajillion, yeah, and
apologize to all the
so
people who love WoW.
sure. I mean, and I never have been, and the gameplay of those types of things just isn't as appealing to
Yeah.
me. And so seeing some of these games like Destiny, that it is an open world, it is massively multiplayer, there are these sort of areas where you can go and hook up with other people and do sort of player versus environment competitions, or presumably player versus player as well. But it's all seamless transition, right? Like you can be just playing
Right.
single player. You can opt out of doing that if you want to. You can just be going through, and then you get home and hop in with your character, and it's not like you're hopping into my game, right?
Right.
It's all your game. It's my game. It's your game. It's just the world that's there for us to go and sort of hop in and hop out and enjoy and explore and play. Um, and the mechanics look sweet.
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, the gunplay and everything. Um, and just sort of having to sort of build your character, create this sort of class around yourself, level up different abilities. In a game that has gameplay that appeals to me,
Yeah. Well, because neither of us are
makes
really
me more
PC gamers,
inclined.
so
Right.
that kind of gameplay just doesn't appeal to us. But this on a console with, you know, normal shooter kind of
Controls
gameplay, just in an MMO world, I think
definitely
that makes it
appeals.
appealing. Yeah.
Yep. So there's Destiny. Looks really awesome. We are excited.
Mm-hmm.
In that vein, uh, speaking about the kind of MMO that's appealing
Right.
to me, is another game, and I think probably the surprise of the conference, was the game The Division.
Yes.
And so this is from Ubisoft, and it's set in this world where there was this virus that terrorists, I think, unleashed on the U.S. By putting this virus on money,
On money. Yeah.
and then they released it on Black Friday when a lot of people are shopping, and
The moment
and it
when it's
spread.
like, ooh, I'm glad I'm Canadian.
Right. And and then the virus gets spread that way. A lot of the population has been wiped out, and I think the
Yeah.
tagline was something like all you can do is try to save what remains, or something like that. And so it's more about like this sort of open world survival game, and it's set in New York City, and it looks freaking gorgeous. And
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
did.
I lived in New York City for a long time, and so I have a fondness for that city and for games that are set there.
Well, and I love
so
big cities too, so, you know, I've always thought New York is cool, even though I haven't been there
Yeah.
yet, you know, but it always looks like a great setting for that kind of game.
Yeah,
So
for that kind of thing. I mean, there's just it looked incredible. The level of detail with the environment, and what parts of the environment have been sort of shut down, and you're going to be going in and trying to scavenge and rebuild and help rebuild the world, and kind of salvage what's left from the aftermath of this pandemic, right?
and that's
And
definitely
so
the type of game that appeals to us.
Yeah. I mean, I like open world games. I like survival games, and
Yeah.
it's kind of the ability to hook up together. And it looked like you create your character in this game as well. Um, I'm pretty sure on that you sort of create your character, and then you go in and you can, acquire skills based on what gameplay you like. Was how they described it. So it's not a class-based system
Right.
exactly, but you will be able to spec your character in particular ways.
Which is good
Um,
because, some people like to play it really differently, and even just
Right.
between you and me, the,
I like the tech and the stealth things,
yeah,
and
and
you like to
I
smash
just like
people.
to smash.
So, it works out.
Yeah.
But,
the bigger the guns, the better, basically.
right. And I'm like, as long as it doesn't weigh so much that I don't have any more room for stuff.
You'll carry all our stuff, I'll smash things.
I'll
How
carry
about
all the
that?
stuff. I need a giant backpack, and I guess muscles to be able to carry that giant backpack.
You just need like a trolley for all your stuff.
What I need is like the ability to sort of teleport whatever loot I've found to a big safe where I keep it all.
Yeah. So, people should probably be sensing a trend by now that we like these open world games with lots of
Yeah.
stuff and
And
that
with
kind
the
of thing.
ability to play things together.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it has a really interesting environment. It has a really interesting plot to it.
Yeah.
That sort of hooks me immediately, and that sort of survival aspect of going around and sort of scavenging things and trying to rebuild things and help people where possible and whatnot. It just really is very appealing to me. I thought it looked great. And I'm really interested to see more about what they do with it. I was
Yeah.
actually a lot more excited about this than I am about Watch Dogs. And I'm excited about Watch Dogs as well. But the Division, the setting and sort of style of that game appeals to me even more than Watch Dogs does.
Yeah.
With the hacking and the
From the
you know.
limited amount that I know about both of those things, I'm inclined
Right.
to agree.
Yeah. So sweet. The Division. It looks great. I can't wait to find out more about it.
Do you want to just get all the MMOs out of the way and talk about Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
Online?
Yeah, sure.
While we're
Let's talk
talking about it,
Elder
we might
Scrolls
as well.
Online. Yeah, while we're talking about MMOs,
It's segued.
sure. The Elder Scrolls Online. Not something that I was particularly excited about before this E3. And it surprised me that it kind of drew me in. Because it was an MMO, right? And as far as I knew, it was only on PC. And my
Right.
PC really can't handle anything more than Minesweeper,
Yeah.
really.
As I'm looking at my hybrid Ultrabook laptop, yeah, it's not gonna do high-end MMOs either.
high-end
so.
MMOs. So, that was sort of, it was like, oh, well, that might be cool, but I won't ever play that because my PC won't play that.
Yeah,
So,
we're just too much
with
of
the-
console gamers to.
yeah, I like my console, PC games, I have nothing against them. If I
No.
had the money to put into a really, really good PC, I think that would be fantastic because obviously you're going to get the best graphics, you're going to get the best sort of internet service, with a PC.
Right.
And you're able to play a lot of these games that are maybe only on Xbox or only on PlayStation, but are also on PC. So you get sort of the best of both worlds a lot of times in
Right.
that regard. I don't know, I'm very invested in my sort of console experience, and I don't have the money to put into a high-end PC, and so I'm
Yeah.
not a PC gamer.
Well, and it's easier
Um,
for us to do stuff together just on our
Yeah.
Xbox.
Right. So, in any case,
Tangent.
now that it's been announced that the Elder Scrolls Online is going to come to Xbox One and PS4, that made it a lot more viable of an option for me. And so I was kind of like, oh, well, maybe I should check more into what this is. And they actually had some gameplay and stuff now, whereas they didn't last year. And so it really is shaping up to look like a really interesting game for anybody who likes the Elder Scrolls series, which I love it.
Yeah.
And so it does kind of look like that Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim and Daggerfall all put together with more environments, with more things, and with the ability to do it co-op.
Yeah, that
You know.
is the main thing, because when you're sitting there playing something like Skyrim, you're like, yeah, this is fun. But I think the fun, at least for us anyway, of an open world, it's more fun when you can have somebody else there to explore with you.
Yeah. And to experience
so-
the fun. And to be like,
To be
But
like,
wait,
hey, look at all this
you-
cool stuff that we found. And
but wait, you can't leave this area yet because I haven't found all the stuff. So-
and like, I don't have room
Or
for it. Cat,
always-
carry some of it.
Oh, like, okay, now we need to make another pit stop by the house so that we can drop all this shit off.
Yeah.
I'm such a freaking loot hoarder.
Yes, she is.
It's not even funny.
That entire game is gonna be me going, are we done yet? Can we move?
No! We have to get the stuff.
But it'll be cool.
Yeah, so the world is something that I love. The fact that they're gonna have this huge Tamriel, like not just one area, but like the entire world of it.
Right.
Um,
Well, who doesn't
to-
want tons of space to just
explore.
frolic in? Like, why not?
Yeah, and and depending on what race you are, I would imagine that the gameplay in each of those areas would change, right? Because you have the different racial tensions and whatnot. So
Right.
if I'm gonna be, I usually play as a Breton. If I'm gonna be a Breton and you're playing as a Nord or whatnot, there's gonna be something there. Or
Yeah.
if I also
That's
like
probably how it goes.
the wood elves, so I like them, and so I might play as one of them as well. They're sneaky, so of course that's the class I like.
And the Nords are big
So-
and hit things. And that's what I play as. Is anybody surprised by that? No.
Yes. So if I'm playing as a Bosmer, and I'm coming to a different area, right? It might be different for me than it is for you, depending on what class you are. So that has interesting implications as well. Being able to go to the different sort of home areas of each class. Like, here, this is where I come from. This is my sort
Right.
of world here in Morrowind, right?
It'll
Or
be
no,
interesting
Morrowind is
for
the
me
Dark Elves
too
place.
to discover
It's
all
hard
of
to
these
remember.
different places, because I'm a bit of a latecomer to it. I've only played
Mm-hmm.
Oblivion and Skyrim, so
Right.
know.
And I mean,
There's
I've
lots to
played
discover.
Morrowind,
So
but I haven't played any of the other earlier ones. So,
Right.
and Morrowind actually was my favorite location wise. So it will be really great to have all of those things sort of together. So it's kind of like the best of everything, and being able to do it together. So
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Elder Scrolls Online, and I never thought that I would be.
Yep.
But,
Yeah.
but there you go. All
was the
right.
first time for everything.
Going from MMOs to some other things. I think we were both kind of intrigued by this the Project Spark thing. Did you
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think that Project Spark is cool because it puts creativity in the hands of the player, and
Mm-hmm.
it just looks like it has a lot of potential for what people can create with it. Like, you can create all different kinds of worlds, you can use all different characters, you can give different behaviors to them, create your own game. I mean, for me personally, that kind of game, I think it would be fun to mess around in, but I don't think I'll ever do anything, world shattering and awesome. But I think the coolest thing to come out of Project Spark will just be the things that those people who do work that way, do think that way, come up with. The stuff that you're going to see on YouTube, and just the different worlds and the different games that people create within that. Kind of like the amazing stuff that people have done in Minecraft, but with more potential, because it's a playable game once you're done with all of that. And I think
and that you can share that.
I think that'll be really
with
cool.
everybody, and so we can download these things that look interesting that other people have made, and be able to play in them, and be able to mess around with things ourselves.
Yeah. To be like, wouldn't it be cool if this could do this, and then you just tweak it,
Right, exactly. So, I don't know, I think that has a lot of potential. It looks similar to, like you said, Minecraft. It also looks sort of like the things that they had in Little Big Planet, where people could edit stuff, but it looks more versatile than either one of those things, because it has so many different types of things that you can do in it. You could do a sort of open world RPG, you could do a third-person shooter, a first-person shooter, a top-down shooter, a platformer, a puzzle game. You could do like all different types of things, and the stuff that they showed was things that ran the gamut of all different types of games. So I think that it looks like a cool little thing to put in your hands and to be able to mess with.
I'm definitely excited to see what people do with that.
Yeah. All right. So there were also a lot of things that we sort of knew about already coming into this, that, it just sort of solidified, I guess, our interest in some of the things, or, reminded us, hey, this is coming.
Right.
And so it might be a good time to just mention some of those.
Okay.
So, like, Halo 5, they revealed.
Right.
It was just a little trailer with Master Chief, and like, hey, there's going to be a new Halo game.
And it goes without saying that we're going to be totally excited for that. And of course, when we hear more about it, we'll probably do something about that as well. So,
Right. So, like, we love Halo. There's going to be a new Halo game. That's all that we really know.
Yeah,
so,
for the moment. So.
Yay. They also said, I don't think this was at E3, this was before, but they said there was going to be like a live-action Halo TV series, and they might integrate some of that with some of the game as well, so I think that could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
depending on what they do with it.
I'm not as into Halo, I think, for the story, so I mean, it could be neat, but that's, to me, I'm more interested in the game itself.
Right. So, I don't know, I think it has potential. Yeah, it has potential for what it could be, but, right now we don't really know what type of integration that is. Another game that's doing something similar, it seems, is Quantum Break. So, it's from Remedy, the people who did the Max Payne series and Alan Wake, and that one is definitely going to be integrated with a TV show and the game, and they both come with the disc. So, from what I understand, the TV show has all been sort of pre-recorded, and it has different iterations of it that will play out depending on what you do in the game, and like what happens in the show might inform what you choose to do in the game, and it seems like it could be pretty interesting, at least to me.
Yeah, I think I'm less into that,
so,
but I mean from what we saw at E3, there really wasn't that much to go on. So,
No,
you know,
there
it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on, but
Yeah, but I think the point is we don't know a whole lot
Yeah.
about it yet. I mean, there's this sort of breaks in time, and where sort of things freeze, and you can manipulate things within the environment, and sort of pull people in and out of being frozen and stuff like that. And the graphics looked scary, real.
yeah,
Um,
approaching the level of
You know, as far as
uncanny.
the-
yeah,
as far as the like character models and all that.
yeah,
So, I don't know. It was something that caught me as like, hey, I want to keep my eye on that kind of thing. I think that's similar with Dead Rising 3.
right.
That it looks like more Dead Rising.
I mean, that's a series that I
running
haven't
around.
played at all. I've heard of
Yeah,
it
and I haven't played
seen
too
a
much
little
of
bit
it.
of stuff from it, but this latest one, I mean, it looks good. All for zombies, all for making crazy weapons to
Crazy
just
weapons.
destroy zombies with.
And I think with the next gen stuff, I think that we've seen in a lot of these games, the sort of open world with no loading screens is really awesome as far as what the capabilities of this next generation is going to be. Where you can have a true open world, you know, that you can just go wherever seamlessly, and you don't have to. It doesn't have to load the other environments. And it can be huge.
Yeah.
Right? And when you can sort of go in and out of buildings and locations and stuff, and not have to sit for a 30-second loading screen, is really cool. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Dead Rising 3 looked interesting.
It did.
Shoot more zombies with crazy weapons.
Could never get enough of that.
Nope. Some stuff that we sort of knew about before, that we're interested in, but didn't really see much that was new. Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Right. Which looks good. Looks good.
Which looks good, you know? The only thing that doesn't look good about it to me is I don't like the voice actor that they've replaced for
Right.
Sam Fisher. You know, the younger voice really doesn't mesh with the older character, so I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but
Well,
the
who
gameplay
knows?
looks solid. We're excited. Assassin's Creed 4. Saw a little bit more gameplay on that one. It's pirates. And Assassin's
It's kind of
Creed.
amazing to me that it took this long for Assassin's Creed to get to pirates.
Right?
You know? But,
Yeah,
yeah.
but they did.
I mean,
It's
that's
here.
something that
Pirates.
seems good to me. Assassin's Creed, that's good. Pirates, those are good too. So.
Yep. The only reservation that I have, and we've talked about this before, was the naval warfare stuff.
Right.
I thought it was interesting in 3, and then the interesting aspect wore off very quickly for me. And so I would hope that they have tweaked that and improved it a lot if that's going to be a more major
Right.
mechanic that's in 4,
I'm-
which I would assume that they did, but you know,
Yeah.
that would be my only reservation for it, is that if I'm having to do a lot of sailing with this ship and it's as kind of clunky and sluggish, and
And
I don't
I'm
know.
not far enough through 3 yet to really have that feeling of, the boats. So, you know,
Right.
we'll see how I
So-
feel about that once I've done the other stuff. But, you know, I still have the theory that was something that they knew they wanted to do for the next one. But they
Yeah,
kind of
and they kinda
introduced
beta
the
tested
idea in 3. So I'm hopeful that they've really fine-tuned that if they're going to make it a huge part of that game, and you'd think they would with pirate things. So
right.
We'll see.
So, Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah.
Yay, pirates.
Yay, pirates.
And again, we already sort of talked about Watch Dogs, but it does look interesting to me, the aspect of hacking different things and having, it looks very different
Right.
from other things that are out there, and so I'm excited for it. But we already knew a whole lot about it,
Yeah.
and there wasn't a whole lot much more that we learned.
Yeah.
So, Mirror's Edge 2, they had a trailer for. I was really excited. You don't care.
I just haven't played Mirror's Edge, so.
I mean, and they said it's gonna come when it's ready.
Which could be any
come out
time,
when it's
who
ready.
knows?
So, which could be any time, ever. So, it was really just a trailer with a little bit of gameplay in it. But I really liked the original Mirror's Edge. It was sort of the first of the, or at least the first good, first-person platforming.
See, now I don't care for platforming, so.
And I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to that whenever there is more information. Batman: Arkham Origins.
Batman.
What?
I like Batman.
Batman.
I
like
will
Batman
admit,
too.
I haven't seen much about this new one, but having played Asylum and Arkham City, I am definitely excited. Both of those games,
Yes.
I mean, they frustrate me at times, but I love them both. And I'm excited to have another one to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great world. The gameplay works really well. It looks like more of the same, and I think that that's probably a good
Yeah.
thing at this point. I mean, I don't think people are... It isn't one of those series where there's been like 5 or 6 of them now,
Right.
and people are just over it. It still has a lot of... it still has a lot of stuff that you can do within that world that's still very rich and is still interesting.
Well, and depending on the
at this
setting
point,
of
so.
it too, I mean, that can do a lot to freshen it up. Like, when you go
Right,
from
like it's gonna be,
Arkham
in
Asylum
Gotham
to
and-
Arkham City. I mean, Arkham City is huge, and there's tons of stuff in there, and it's really varied world compared to the first one. So that freshened it up, and I'm sure they'll do something similar for the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Batman. Who doesn't like Batman?
I think it's Batman. It's Batman. All right. How about Rise?
Yeah, Rise
of that?
was one that's a new one. That was one that I hadn't heard anything about before watching the stuff from E3, and the history geek in me just had a moment when that showed up. Now I'm more into Greek history than Roman history, but still, it's that kind of old style warfare, really good. I like that. It looked like it had really interesting mechanics. Like, you can fight by yourself and do the quick time based finishers, which were brutal and awesome. Or you can form up as a team and, use your shields to block arrows, throw spears, that kind of thing. And yeah.
So call out commands.
Call
to,
out
like,
commands
the
to
squad
them.
and-
So that looks like it's more than just, a brawler in Roman times or something. There's a little bit
Right.
more to
Which,
it.
I mean, a brawler in Roman times wouldn't
No,
be bad.
no, I'm not saying that like that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, not only is it that, but it's
There's a
got
little bit
that
more
other
depth.
element to it. Yeah, it's got more depth. So, that has a
Yeah.
lot of potential. We
So,
didn't
yeah.
see too much from it, but I liked what I saw. And
Yes,
as always,
and it had
looked
clinking
great.
armor.
Yes. Yes.
The armor when they walked clinked, and I was like, ooh, the armor it
That
clinks.
is just, it's little
Sweet.
details like that make a game more immersive and
Come alive.
And, yeah, it just makes it come alive. Like, and I think we'll see more of that kind of stuff. Just things,
Yeah, as they're able
realistic
to do
things
more
like
with
armor
the consoles.
clinking and more things that you can interact with in the environment. That's something I always want.
Yeah.
because it makes the world that you're
Absolutely.
playing in feel more realistic. So it doesn't just look realistic; it's got all that other stuff
Mm-hmm.
in there too. But
Yep.
yeah, so that's one that I'm interested in trying out. It looks really different from most of the games that I've ever played, so that
Sweet.
seems cool.
Um, all right. How about Call of Duty Ghosts?
I never thought I'd see the
I
day that
saw a
we'd
little
be
bit.
geeking out over a Call of Duty game, and yet the day has come.
No. I mean, I've been sort of over Call of Duty for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I never really cared for the multiplayer aspect of it, and the single player has worn itself thin for me. Um, it just seemed to be kind of like the same thing, the same thing, the same thing the past couple of iterations. Um, and this one, I don't know, it caught me for whatever reason because it does look like it has more of the change ups in gameplay. So it has kind of the peaks and valleys to it. There are some slower sections, some stealthy sections, and some big action sequences. And so I think that, I don't know, and the setting looks really
Mm-hmm.
interesting to me. It just looks different from what you would think of from Call of Duty,
Yeah.
right? And so that appeals to me. I really loved Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. I thought Modern Warfare 3 was still a good game, gameplay wise, but just it had lost its sort of intrigue. And this looks like it's bringing it back um, with something a little more fresh.
Right.
And you have a dog,
And you have a dog.
a doggy.
Which should add some interesting aspects to the gameplay.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
The idea that you can go in and sort of go into the camera that's on the dog's back and give him commands and sort of control the dog in sections. I mean, it looks interesting to me, and he's real cute. So
And you
cute
know,
little
it
doggy.
just I've never particularly been interested in the Call of Duty games. You know, I've seen stuff from them, and they've just never drawn me in. But the presentation was really good, and it looked amazing. Like, all of these games looked amazing with the next gen
Yeah,
graphics and
graphics
everything.
wise,
But
yeah.
I don't know, something about it just. I saw it and I thought, I might have
Appealed.
to play a Call of Duty game. So there you
Right?
go. Um,
Absolutely. Moving from Call of Duty to Battlefield 4.
yeah, Battlefield 4. It looked good. I mean, it
Yeah,
didn't
it
look
looked
really all that different from what I've seen.
From
From
Battlefield
Battlefield
3.
3.
You mean?
Yeah. But it looked good.
I think it looked like there was more destruction, some more like squad based type things they added. They had more like things in the environment. So like there was the thing where the plane was sort of sliding down
Right.
at an angle and you were fighting there. So I think some of the things with the environment has been tweaked, and there's more destruction
Yeah.
and more destructible
So
things.
that might
and,
change up the gameplay.
you know, who doesn't
a
like to
bit.
disrupt
Yeah.
things? And,
Well, isn't that a major
Blow shit
appeal of Battlefield, that you can just break
well, yeah,
everything?
it is. You just want to
Um,
blow everything
I mean,
up.
by
so-
saying that it doesn't look all that different, I don't say that as a criticism to it, because I think
Right.
what Battlefield does, it does very well. So I
Yes.
think it will continue to build on that, and I think it'll do good things with that. I never actually did get to play Battlefield 3, but I did see a lot of it played by some friends of mine, and it looked great. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah, I think that will definitely be good. It's another good solid
How about
shooter.
the Final Fantasies?
Final Fantasies, yeah.
So you got there's a lot of them, right? So you've got Final Fantasy 13-3, or I guess 13 Lightning
Right.
Returns, which I'm definitely gonna play. I played 13. I did not play 13-2. I have very little interest in 13-2 because the characters in 13-2
just weren't the favorite.
don't appeal to me. But Lightning Returns does, and I'm interested to see where the story goes.
I think this may be a first for Final
so-
Fantasy having 3 games set in the same
3 games
universe with
set
the
in
same
the same-
characters. I think before that, the most they had, and someone who knows more about Final Fantasy might correct me, but I think before that, the most they had was 2 games, and that was between
2.
10 and 10-2. So I think that's neat,
Yes.
because, you know, the perpetual problem with Final Fantasy is that there are these really involved stories, and you spend a lot of time playing the game, and you get fond of the characters and the world, and then it changes. So,
Yep, and if it changes to characters that you aren't interested in, then you might not be interested
Yeah.
in that particular game. But then, you know, the next numbered one comes along, and then they might have new interesting people.
Right.
So, I'm definitely interested to play 13.
Yeah, definitely.
3. And then 13 Versus has been now turned into 15.
the numbering is so confusing. But
Well, they've had 14 out already, you know.
Did they?
And 14 is, I think, coming to PS4, and PS3. And I think it didn't do very well.
I just don't even
People didn't
know.
have much interest in it.
Keeping track of Final Fantasy
Well,
is hard.
I think it was only on PC or something.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
Well, it's kind of like,
I
what
don't
was
know.
it? 11 was online? Something like that?
was online. Yeah.
Who knows? So it'll be interesting to
So,
see
in any
what
case-
the story and characters are like for that.
For 15, yeah.
Because it will be different characters.
Right. And so, you know, whatever the story and characters are will make it or break it as far as whether am interested in it or not. And we don't really know much about that right now, other than it's 15 and it's coming.
And we hope
So-
that the gameplay will change to something different and not the system that
A different
they
combat system.
introduced in
I hope that the
13.
combat system is different in Lightning
Yes,
Returns as
yeah.
well. So, I mean, I've heard that 13.2 the combat is much better.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
in Lightning Returns it's going to be
Even better, yeah.
in that
I,
too.
as someone who's played Final Fantasies before, I don't know what they were thinking, but
With
yeah,
13,
here's
yeah.
hoping that, you know, they learned from that.
So let's see. Just some things that I saw that I thought was interesting that I think it's worth mentioning. Thief, first-person stealth game that is going to be sort of a reboot of that series. Looks interesting to me. Don't know a whole lot about it, but looking forward to learning more in the future. The same for me with The Evil Within, which is survival horror from the creator of like the Resident Evil series. Supposedly going back to this more survival horror roots of, you know, not as much action all the time as sort of survival and you know, really managing your items in your inventory and scarcity of resources and all that good stuff, and puzzle solving and sort of sneaking around enemies.
It sounds like
and
the
not
game for
always
you.
engaging hordes of them. So yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's something that I'm definitely keeping my eye on. One that we both liked the sound of was Mad Max,
Yep.
which is open world game set in the Mad Max universe, which
I am
and that's all we
a
really
big
know about
fan
it, but
of that kind of setting.
yeah.
Loved Mad Max.
And so, yeah, and you have all of these sort of open world games like Fallout or whatnot that gets compared to Mad Max all the time. I think it will be interesting to have an actual Mad Max
Yeah,
game.
yeah. So it's not
You
like
know.
this is Mad Max-esque.
This is Mad
it
Max,
actually
like Borderlands
is Mad
and
Max.
Fallout.
So
They
there
get
you go.
kind of compared to like Mad Max, and now it's going to actually be Mad Max. So
Well, it better
I
not
think that's
disappoint, because then it's never going to hear the
I
end
know,
of it.
right? Exactly. Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare looked cute.
Yeah, that looked like a fun one.
I mean, who would have thought that would be a third-person shooter, but with some strategy elements
Well,
to
hey,
it as well.
you know,
But hey, it
Why
looked
not?
cute. It looked like it might work. So
Plants vs Zombies,
um,
fantastic game. So
Plants vs Zombies. Yeah. So I'm interested to see more about that. There was a game from Insomniac called Sunset Overdrive that looked
oh
interesting.
yeah.
And another sort of open world,
Sensing a
build
trend
crazy
here.
weapons and kill
And
things.
it looked like it was co-op
thing,
as
but
well.
again,
so
we didn't.
that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And so I think something to keep my eye on, but I don't know a whole lot about it yet. The Crew was the car game, I guess, that most appealed to me. They have like the entire US mapped out, and you can drive from one side of it to the other, and it takes like an hour and a half or something to drive the entire way, and it's all in game. There's no loading. It's just like contiguous, right? Which sounds very cool. And you know, you just drive around and take different missions, and you can hop in and hop out with your friends as
Been
well.
dying for a good
to do stuff
game
together.
where
So
you can just drive.
yeah, just drive around and do little races and do little missions and stuff. And so of the racing games that I saw, that one looked to me to have the most potential. The Witcher 3.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of
Looked
knowledge
interesting?
of the Witcher series.
Yeah,
I've
me
heard
neither.
that it's very good, and I mean, just looking at it, it looks fantastic. Sound like a
Yeah, it
broken
looks
record here.
fantastic.
It looks
It's
fantastic.
another-
It looks fantastic.
Right.
But you know, the character design looked really great. The horses looked good. Uh, you know, it looked like an interesting world.
The horses. Yeah.
So I think that's one that probably appeals a little bit more to me than it does to you, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love a good fantasy game, and I haven't played the others in the series. I keep thinking that I might pick up Witcher 2. So maybe I will. And but it looks like an interesting setting. It's another one of those sort of open world RPG things, and those are my bread and butter, so
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yep.
That's about it. The
We
last
didn't
thing
talk about Saints
that I
Row,
have,
did
yeah, the last thing that I had, and I was sort of saving, was Saints Row 4.
Yeah.
To talk about at the end here, because we were both really,
End on a
really,
high
really
note.
excited about this one. So Saints Row 4, it's crazy.
It looks insane.
It looks like
you are the president,
so
and there are aliens.
over the top. Yep.
and
President, aliens, like Matrix
crazy
environment
superpowers.
that you're in, superpowers.
Everything that you love about
Just
Saints
looks
Row
crazy.
3 just taken up a notch. Like,
Yeah.
as astounding as it is to think of taking Saints Row 3 up a notch.
3 up a notch.
It seems that they have.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's exciting because Saints
Yeah.
Row is just one of those games that it is so fun. There's just an emphasis on making the gameplay really fun and giving you a lot of fun things to mess around with, and I don't think that it'll disappoint. I think it'll just keep
No,
doing
I think it's gonna be
the same
awesome.
good stuff.
I don't know. I don't know what there is more to say about it than aliens, Matrix, President, superpowers.
Do we need to
Dubstep
say
guns.
more? I mean, that sells itself.
I mean,
If you like Saints
it's
Row,
crazy.
I think
I
it'll just
think
be great.
You should be really, really excited
Yep.
because I don't know. I love the sort of crazy fun direction that series has taken, and it's really helped it break away from the where it started as kind of like this GTA clone,
Right.
and really bring it into something that's all its own, and that just sort of silliness and irreverence and you know, at its core, just saying we want to make a game where the player has just total free reign to do like whatever crazy thing they want to do, and just giving you more and more tools to be able to do more and more crazy things is just fantastic.
Absolutely.
And, I think sets that series apart for me, from others that are in that same sort of genre, if it even is within a genre anymore. It's kind of its own
It's
class
just crazy.
of
That's what it is.
just crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy. So anyway, those were a lot of games, right?
Yeah,
so
it's
a lot to be
lot
excited
of
about.
stuff. And this
and
is
that's
just
not
the beginning.
even.
So
Yeah, I mean, and that doesn't even. That was just a very small part of like everything that was shown. I mean, we didn't even
absolutely,
talk
yeah.
about anything from Nintendo, which is kind of sad because, I mean, I really like Nintendo and like their Mario's and Zeldas and stuff like that, but I don't know, nothing particularly that they came out with was super exciting. I mean, they have a new Mario, they have a new Mario Kart.
Well, and I just find that the Nintendo console just doesn't have enough on it that I want to rush out and
No.
buy it.
It's just not as appealing.
I mean, they would have to put out a freaking awesome Zelda game for
yeah.
me to even consider that, and it would have to be just the best thing since Ocarina of Time to make me do that, because it just there isn't enough. These consoles are too expensive, and there's
Yeah,
just so much
to
on Xbox.
have all of them. Yeah. So, so that's kind of it. I mean, definitely, if any of those things sounded interesting to you and you hadn't heard about them before, or you hadn't seen any of the coverage and stuff, go watch coverage from some of these conferences, because they had just a ton of really cool things that are coming out.
Right, and it's hard to do them justice just talking about them. You need to see it for yourself
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
really get a sense of
exactly.
it.
So that is that's our E3 sort of games wrap up. What we are excited about and what we thought of what we saw. So
Yeah.
thanks for watching, guys. That's what these gamer girls are thinking about this week.
See you later.
No one wants a knife spatula.